Hello, everybody. Thank you guys so much for checking out the channel. This is episode one of the Content Manager podcast. I'm very excited today because this is my first ever podcast, and I have a very special guest. This is actually Eric Ardito. We've been friends for a little bit now, met each other online on a platform called School. And the reason why we connected so well is we have a lot of similar interests in background in UFC type of stuff, videography, social media, and things like that. So thank you so much, Eric, for being here. It means a lot, especially being my first ever guest.
Yeah, dude, thanks for having me, man. First ever guest is big, I'm one of many here coming up in the future.
And you've done podcasts before, correct?
I have, yeah, I used to run my own podcast actually called Honest Conversations just before COVID started. I was running the podcast and it was just pretty much about anything. And I would bring my guests on and I'd give them Dutch Bros coffee and I'd get the 911, which has like, 6 shots of espresso in it. So I'd really get my guests yapping on there.
I love it. So, just one of the first questions I had for you, just could you give us a little bit of a background slash context of who you are, where you're from, and kind of how you got to where you are today?
Yeah, so I've been doing videography and photography for I'm in year 10 technically, like from a professional standpoint. But, I started taking pictures just in general in 2011, because I would just get, I would get high and take photos, and my friends told me I took beautiful pictures, so that's, how long I've been doing this. And I've been working with so many different kinds of brands, so many different kinds of athletes. I've worked with tons of people. It's like the type of video that I've done. You name it, I've done it, in terms of genre. I started out doing like music videos, and then I slowly transitioned to fitness. And it's fitness. It's kind of like a snowball effect. You work for one person, they're connected to a lot of different people. So I've been in a lot of different industries when it comes to fitness. It's more like, I was in like the boxing realm, and then I was in the bodybuilding, realm, and now I'm in like the MMA space, when it comes to, filming fitness content. But, it's been a wild journey, especially this year. I think this has been one of my most interesting years doing videography and stuff. But, I've done it all over. I've lived in 5 different states: New York, Arizona, Tennessee, Florida, and now Colorado. And I've traveled all over doing content all over the states, and even to Iceland, Puerto Rico, and stuff. So I've been around the block.
Love it, love it. There's so much to unpack there. One of my main questions I had was, did you always feel like videography, this kind of social media stuff was your calling? Did you ever have like high school background, college background? Did you go that route at all?
Originally, I just wanted to do pranks online. Like I watched a lot of Roman Atwood, Jack Vale, Public Prank was another channel. And he would just go up to people and ask them if they want to buy a little pot. That was like his main prank, and then he'd pull out like an actual like cooking pot out of his backpack, and that was his like main prank. But originally, I wanted to be like a personality who does pranks and stuff, but I never had anybody to film for me. And then I was like, I still want to do something in video. So in like 2014, I went to the Polk State College and I enrolled in like the digital media program, dropped out of the actual program after one semester because I got in an argument with the photography professor. And just kind of wanted to go my own route. But after I still stayed in college and ended up getting like my business degree. But in terms of like video and photo and everything, I became really like self-taught. And just learning everything off YouTube from guys like Creative Ryan, Justin Odisho, and YC Imaging. Even had a mentor at one point when I was trying to learn Premiere Pro. And I had a guy stay at my house for like a week, and all we did was, just do a crash course on Premiere Pro. And he just taught me everything I needed to know in terms of, what I needed to know to get the ground running. So yeah, that's kind of like how I started and what I've like pretty much how I got to what like the path I guess that I took right to get there.
Yeah, I think a lot of creatives have this origin story of a certain point in time when they come across a teacher or maybe who's someone a little bit older who doesn't really understand the space or even the opportunities where you have an idea that you want to present to somebody and they don't see the vision of what you can do with it. I'll give you a personal example. Around 2013, around the same time that you're speaking about, I was growing a social media Instagram page, a running page, and it had like 30,000 followers at the time. And I saw my biology teacher at this store. And so I was like, why not show my teacher? Like, this is cool. Like, I wanted to show them that my passions of something that I enjoy talking about and posting online about, that there's a community here and that there's people who like this kind of stuff because 2013 social media wasn't as popular, not as common. Not
Yeah.
everybody had it, obviously, right? And so I distinctly remember this situation because I brought it up to him and I said, "Hey, look," and the main thing he like just kind of conveyed to me, he's like, "There's no money in that. Like, okay, you're doing this, but like, are you monetizing it yet? Like, are you making money from it?" And at the time, it kind of rubbed me the wrong way because I was in high school still and I was still going down that traditional route of like go to school, go to college, go that normal route, and I wasn't yet monetizing it. And so it kind of felt like a diss in a way, but I really, when I went home, I thought to myself, like, I'm gonna find a way to make this a full-time career and make this like my reality, even though that at the time I was like, yeah, he's kind of in my head. And that's something that I latched on to. But I say that because could you go into a little bit about what your teacher said to you that really kind of started that argument?
Yeah, I think the argument wasn't more about like monetizing, but I do understand that part because there's so many people who are like from the older generation who, if you're not making money immediately from something, they're like, why are you doing it? They don't understand about, because some people have just never built anything in their life. They've just kind of gone like a really traditional route. So they've never, actually took the time to build something from the ground up, and they don't understand the work and, how long it takes to actually get to that point. So if you're not making money from it immediately, they seem to think you're wasting your time. But from that argument, it was actually over email. I
Oh,
think I
really?
still have an email somewhere. It's on a hard drive I have. I'm a hoarder, so I have a lot of old text messages and emails and shit that I keep that, that I'm just like, oh, that's something to fun to look at when I'm like 50, or whatever. But he wanted me to take a lighting class, or I think it was digital photography 2 before a lighting class, and I'm like, he wasn't he wouldn't let me take it concurrently, like at the same time. You would only take one or the other. And I just kind of disagreed because like when you do digital photography, that's in all aspects of it. Like you need to know lighting, you need to know placement, you need to know camera settings. All that stuff is hand in hand to me, and he wouldn't let me do it, but I didn't like his tone, like he over email, and he had that like it was very condescending with the terminology that he was using. And there was like a lot of people in my college too. They were like very condescending at times. And I love my school, but just like certain people were condescending to me. So it just ended up with like, time will tell where I am and where you're at, in X amount of years, But thank you for taking the time out of your illustrious, photography career to teach classes at Polk State College. So it was not nice, not great. I saw him actually years later, and he was one of those people who he's like, I told you you could do this. I told you you could be great. But literally how we left off before I saw him was that email argument. So it was really weird. One of those people who's like, I think I saw an interview actually with it was Michael B. Jordan. Did you see that with that girl?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, and she was like acting like she always like believed in him and shit. It was very similar to that situation. And I just kept it cool, and I was like, yeah, man, yeah, blah blah blah. So that was kind of how it all went down. That was how I never went to the digital media program again after that. I made my own digital media program.
Well, it sounds like you got some good closure on it, even though that he kind of switched up and said, I'm proud of you. I think that the teacher at the end of the day, they want the best for you. And when
Yeah,
you
we're
were in the
cool now.
class. Yeah, when you were
We're
in the
good.
class, he's
If I
maybe
saw him, I'd say hi, you know. Like he's
right.
I don't think he's a bad guy or anything. We just had like a disagreement, you know.
Totally, totally. So fast forwarding to today, I know we've been really talking about this before the podcast had started.
Yeah.
Over the last 6 weeks, you've been doing some really exciting projects. A
Yeah.
lot of it has to do with behind the scenes work for UFC fighters and UFC Gym, Factory X, I believe it's called, in Denver, Colorado, where you're based out of. Could you tell us just how the last 6 weeks have been and kind of what you've been working on?
Just really, really daunting. I mean, I just got back from Vegas like 6 hours ago, 7 hours ago from fight week. But yeah, I've been filming for Yusuf Zalal. He's a UFC featherweight, just got back in the UFC this year. And he 2-0, two rear naked chokes to start this new run, back in the UFC. And the percentage of people who get back in the UFC after getting cut is not that high. So you got to make the most of it. And he was talking about it yesterday at the press conference too. He's like, it's just all about how you perform. And that's in every aspect, when it comes to even content creation. As somebody like me, it's all about how I perform when I'm, filming and getting the right angles and stuff like that. But yeah, I've just been kind of, running his whole, social media for the past, 6 weeks, since we started working together, building up the YouTube channel. We're over 300 subscribers now. Some of these videos have like over 1,000 views at the moment, and they're doing super well. He just sent me one like a minute ago where, he's, I mean, some of the stuff he's saying is turning into memes now, and the whole MMA community is kind of just taking his stuff and running with it. They're saying he should do stand-up comedy. I always knew this guy was super funny, and now the fact that it's all out there on YouTube, and now that he won yesterday and people are really finding out about it, and they're like, yo, if Eddie Murphy and Kevin Hart had a kid, it would be Yusuf Zalal based on, his voice and how he sounds. And he's just a really high energy kind of guy, and he's super loud. You hear him from a mile away. Good for me because the audio for the camera, we need that. So yeah, it's been good, just intense, just kind of trying to wind down from it, and now getting back and focusing on my other clients, and I got to write up some proposals for them tonight. So there's a lot going on. Yeah.
That's so funny you mentioned that about the audio because I agree. I was listening to some of the clips and I was like, how is this audio so good? I don't see him being mic'd up at all.
Not just shotgun mic. I have it like on the table over there. I just have I hadn't used that mic. It's like a Rode Video Pro Plus mic or something like that. Hadn't used it in years until I started filming these vlogs and this, series and stuff. And the settings were still the same. I don't know why they're that way. I set them years ago, but all I remember is when I set them, I'm like, yeah, just so it doesn't peak, you know so it doesn't go overboard. So the no matter how loud things get, it's not gonna like peak, and the audio is still gonna sound good. I mean, I don't know if you saw the clips of us on Fight Week in an elevator, but everybody's loud as shit in there, and the audio is not peaking. So I've just got it set perfectly right now, and even at the gym, and it's good because shotgun mics are awesome because they only pick up the audio where you point them at, and as long as I'm pointing it at him or whoever, that's what's gonna get picked up. Nothing behind me, nothing like that.
So you work with Yusuf Zalal from the UFC. You've been doing his behind the scenes and you're starting to network and meet new individuals. Could you let us know a little bit about where do you see this opportunity going and how it, compare and contrast to maybe some of your other client work that you've done?
I mean, I just go with the flow, like I think if you start thinking like, oh, this opportunity could go here, you can do this, you can do that, you can make $1 million in this, whatever. You get kind of, you just get kind of big headed, or you kind of put all your eggs in one basket, or you lose sight of why you started doing this in the first place. Like this has definitely been the most enjoyable project I've been on in a very long time. Working with him, and just the whole team at Factory X. Everyone's really welcomed me in, and it's just been just fantastic with how I've been like treated and with everything. So where I see things going is more like, I don't look at things that way. I'm just like I go with the flow. Like, I got home today and I'm like, all right, this is good, this is awesome, but we got to keep moving forward and stuff. And there's other opportunities out there as well. So I'm excited for whatever comes of it.
How did you kind of prepare for this opportunity? Because it's kind of a new thing, right? This UFC behind the scenes content, or have you done behind the scenes content before for an athlete?
I filmed vlogs before and edited them as well. I used to shoot for Dylan McKenna, who was a Gymshark athlete, and I did his vlogs and his content and stuff like that. And also did Katrina McKenna, his wife, her content as well. So it's not really like a new thing following somebody around every day, and you kind of live their life with them. I felt like I was actually in fight camp, and you know, and you just feel like you're actually like a part of them in a sense because you're documenting their entire life. So it's really interesting. So I've done it before. I'd say this was a little more intense and, higher volume filming, 4 to 5 times a week and, 6 a.m. cardio practice right after. Just literally like my whole day was not my life, it was somebody else's. So it was definitely a challenge and, just the hours put in to everything. Yeah.
A lot of people would consider this like a dream opportunity, being able to work with a UFC fighter, getting behind the scenes, getting to go to the Las Vegas Apex Center. Is that how you feel, or is it kind of just like this is just normal to me kind of thing?
I mean, when you've been doing it so long, it's just kind of normal. I still have friends who don't think who thought I was just shooting for random people, which is kind of funny. My friend, she told me, I thought you just shoot for random people. I was like, no, like I've shot for multi-million-dollar companies. I went from, I filmed a company when they were a startup, and they were paying me 1,500 a month, and then they became a multi-million-dollar company, and they, were paying me 10K a month at that point, for content. Even the dog trainer, we got a big project coming up here and he's developing an app. He's a dog trainer out here and we are I worked with him when he was part-time, bussing tables at a restaurant. And now I went to his house last week and he's got a huge house, 22 dogs in there that he's boarded, and it's all he's doing is dog training now, and we have a lot of exciting stuff coming up. And just, I've worked with so many different companies and athletes and stuff. So yeah, it's kind of remind me of the question again. I'm sorry. Yeah,
Just
oh, like a dream opportunity.
right.
I'm a fan of the sport for sure. It's hard not to geek out sometimes. You gotta obviously keep it professional. The fan in me was screaming when I saw Aljamain Sterling on at the PI, and Kyle Baralho, who's a middleweight, got a main event coming up against Jared Cannonier. I saw him too. Saw a lot of different people, but just try to stay calm and be professional within all of it because I've had opportunities like this before, and I was just young and just kind of immature and didn't handle them the best way. So now it's more so just trying to stay calm and keep it professional, which I feel like I did a good job at. So.
Was there any part of the week behind the scenes that you kind of felt overwhelmed, or that there was like a lot on your plate, whether you had to go back to the hotel and edit or get something up right away? Was there anything that kind of went off the rails, or was everything just super smooth, super dialed in?
Nah, because I think for other people they get overwhelmed, but I just you have to mentally prepare. And when you're just, I don't know, I hate to sound egocentric, but I have been doing this for a long time. So it's just like when you understand the assignment and you've been in crunch time situations before. I was talking to Jacob, who is at Iridium. He's one of like users managers and he's part of the agency, handles all the sponsor stuff. And he was telling me, he's like, dude, like the hardest thing is finding people like videographers to turn around, do turnaround, and make sure they get the content done. I'm turning around shit within 5 hours. You know what I mean? I'm getting that vlog out on hotel Wi-Fi too, which really fucking pissed. That was the only thing that pissed me off. Hotel Wi-Fi is trash, and I didn't see that coming. So the vlog that we put out, that's like over 1,000 views right now, and people really love it. Put that out, I think Saturday morning, right, something like that. And I mean, I uploaded that at like 1 or 2 in the morning on the YouTube channel, because I'm like, I gotta get it out one way or another. So you just have to understand the assignment. You know you're gonna lose sleep. You know you're gonna stay up late. You're probably gonna. There's 2 or 3 nights in a row I only slept like 4 or 5 hours. You just know that like this is what's gonna happen, and I already knew it coming in, even though I hadn't been in a fight camp, even though I hadn't been at fight week before. I just know how things go when you're working with people like this who are, go, go, go. Things are super intense because I've been in equivalent situations before, so it's just, if I had to give any advice for somebody to, who's newer, you just got to understand the assignment. You have to know that, like, you can't get flustered, and you have to know that, like, dude, it's going to take, everything out of you, but it's going to be worth it. So, I mean, I just stayed caffeinated. Um, and it's all about time management. There are times I'd run up to the hotel room, and I don't have the greatest laptop in the world. I always say it's not about gear. I don't have the best computer, but so I'm still proxying footage. And I had to run up to the hotel. I proxied the footage, came back down, filmed some more. It's just all about time management, and getting that shit out there, and just kind of backing up what you say. I think, and the thing that pissed me off too is I had some issue where I exported the vlog, and it took a while because it was a big file, like 30 or 40 minutes, and it came out and it just looked like shit. And I'm like, why does it look like shit? Like what the fuck? So I had to export it again, and I tested it in like a lower quality just to make sure. Still don't know what happened. And then I exported it in the 4K, different settings. I still don't know what the fuck happened, but I got it out. So that's what matters. It's just like you just got to do stuff, man. As long as you get it out there, like we did some sponsorship stuff too, and that content's not the greatest content, but he's still mentioning them. That's what they want to hear. That's what they want, is that he's still talking about them, regardless if the content's not like the greatest promo in the fucking world. I talked to, like I said, Jacob from Iridium, and he said, yeah, companies just want content. Like some companies just need content. And it was kind of different working, for a company like Marmot, who's kind of like North Face, their cold weather brand. And working for a company like that has like tons and tons of guidelines, and now going to a company that's just like, we just need content. That makes my life a lot easier, truly. So yeah.
Right, right. Well, you've spoken to a large amount of your experience and things that you've worked on. It obviously shows because you're in the room with the right people, UFC fighters, this big deal with the dog trainer that you've spoken about. You're really stepping into this mentorship role now. I feel like you can give a lot of feedback for others who are maybe they're just starting out, or maybe they have 2 or 3 years of experience with videography and things of that nature.
Yeah.
Um, are you currently working on any projects? Do you have any communities that you're working on that you'd like to kind of go into about what they are?
Obviously, I'm working on Capture, which is like videography mentorship community. I'm still working out kinks for it. I'm still trying to figure out how I want to get that off the ground and make sure that, like, you know, I can deliver on the promises and stuff. I mean, I know I can, but I want to make sure that things are correct. I'm probably gonna make it free at this point. You know, I I want to do free, and then do have one-time purchases in case anybody needs anything, or they want to book a call with me, or buy any like digital products I have and stuff like that. I feel like free could be the way to go, and maybe do a capture premium in the future. But yeah, that's going to be my school community. I just don't think it's like there yet. But I'm being really, I think that's the thing. You got to be really patient, and that's for everything in life. I'm just trying to be as patient as possible, and I'm still at a point where, like, I'm trying to change my life, and I get those gigs that are 10, 15, 20K, but I want to change my life still in terms of certain things that I want to accomplish, in my career, and make sure, like, this was something that I definitely wanted to accomplish in my career, working with like Yusuf and being there at Fight Week and stuff like that, but at the end of the day, you just have to look at it as another opportunity. So you can't get geeked out about it. But I have so many personal projects that I want to do that are like, dream projects as well. I want to go down to Puerto Rico and work with Caribbean Top Team. They're an MMA gym out there, and Puerto Rico has boxing talent, but not a lot of MMA talent coming out of there. So I want to be able to put those guys on the map and really get those guys known and interview each and every one of them and talk about their stories and stuff and just do the whole fucking project for free. I'm not really concerned. I use bigger projects that make me money as a tool to get to the projects that, you know, are passion projects that aren't going to make me the most money, but I know I'm going to have the most fucking fun. And that's the real goal. Money to me is a tool to get to where you actually want to be.
Gotcha. And so for someone who wants to get more connected with you, they can check out your school program, Capture. And you were saying kind of you want to build it out free and get people, in there and things like that. What can someone who wants to join gain from joining Capture? Do you have templates or things of that nature? What
Yeah,
could they do?
there's a lot of like email templates in there if you want to connect because that's the thing too. Like I think so many people think that there's just not work in their area, which is not true whatsoever. You can get work in your area, but you can also get work outside of your area too. Whether that's connecting with brands and pitching them or whatever. All of that stuff I have in Capture in terms of like email templates, contract templates, and things like that. And right now it is free. I do have it as free right now, and I'm probably going to keep it that way. And yeah, and there's just like one-on-one mentorship if people want to talk to me. I was talking to the guy who films Danny Barlow, the UFC middleweight or welterweight, actually, welterweight. And I was just putting him on game too, and I told him, I'm like, dude, if they agree to your price too quickly, then you have a problem. You're charging too low. You have to have an objection and then try to convince them to go to the price point that you want them to be at and stuff like that. So certain things, he'd only been doing it for 2 years, you know, and he's the type of person that I want in the community because I know he's going to ask a lot of questions and he's going to be curious about, what I'm doing and things like that. So yeah, that's pretty much the goal of Capture. I just don't want there to be a lot of secrets and shit like that and people just kind of gatekeeping information. So many videographers gatekeeped and kept secrets for so long with how they got involved with certain people or how they did certain things. And I just feel like I told Tommy, that's the guy who shoots for Danny Barlow, I'm like, dude, there's enough business for everybody, like doesn't have to be all this competition, you're stealing my client or whatever. If you can't get clients where you are, you can get brands to mail you shit and negotiate with them and hire models in your area and factor that into your price point for them and shoot that content, especially if you're in a unique area. Like Colorado is a unique place to be because so many brands are looking for mountains and scenery and shit like that in Colorado. I mean, I live 20 minutes from it, so it's easy to get brands to send stuff to me and have models and just shoot it and edit it, and that's it.
Awesome. Well, we're going to start wrapping up this podcast. If you guys enjoyed this, definitely check out Eric's school community as well as Eric. Your Instagram is
It's Eric.Ardito, Ardito. That's me.
awesome. Well, thanks guys for watching and leave any comments you guys have down below. Once again, definitely check out his school community to connect with him deeper. And we will see you for the next episode. Thanks so much.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.